Hi, this is Mike Marshev, and welcome to today's sales meeting for March 7th, the year 2012. Now, this is going to be a recorded version because I was called out of town at the last minute. I apologize for that. I promise I won't make a habit of that. But today we have a jam-packed sales meeting. We're going to talk about the value of hitting singles versus home runs. We're going to talk about niche marketing again. I can't talk about that enough. We're going to talk about the one sheet, the I need help letter, articles, and then I'm going to share with you my marketing sampling campaign that I'm doing right now. So those are the topics we're going to talk about today. So let's kick things off and talk about the value of hitting singles versus home runs. Now, sometimes when we swing for the fence, we come up short, we get dejected, we get frustrated, we want to quit. Ladies and gentlemen, let's think about just hitting singles. Let's get to first base. And first base in our case is hitting singles, and that is increasing our visibility in our marketplace. If people don't know we're alive, they can't possibly do business with us. And in baseball, as in business, until somebody knows we're alive or we get to first base, so to speak, nothing is going to happen. So let's focus this week. Let's focus for the next 2 weeks on hitting singles, on introducing ourselves to strangers, on getting to first base. So I was called to task on this just the other day. I mentioned to a friend of mine that I want to hit the home run. I'm looking for the home run. And he said, Mike, forget about the home run. Think singles. Let's concentrate on meeting some more of the right people in our marketplace so we can introduce our services, talk to them, get to second base, which is called a scoring position, by the way, and eventually we will score enough runs. But until we get to first base, nothing will happen. So let's think visibility. Get them on first base. Get them over scoring position. Get them in scoring a run or a new customer. So I wanted to share that with you today. Let's think singles for the next 2 weeks. This happened to me this week, and I wanted to share this story with you. A friend of mine had a foot problem, and he asked me for a ride to the hospital to go change his bandages and get a checkup. So I drove down. We finished the task, and then we went up and we had a beer at a Irish pub. This Irish pub next in his neighborhood was closed for a couple of weeks with a change of ownership. That's very important. So we walk in, and the proprietor's there with his son. This young family now bought this new pub, and we started chatting with him. And he found out that my partner, my friend, owned a restaurant, so he started asking him questions about how he could make this new pub that he just purchased work. How could he get this thing off the ground? And without batting an eye, a new Irish pub that, as we all know, sells Guinness, sells beer, sells whatever, sandwiches, whatever they sell. My friend said, well, what niche are you in? What are you looking for? What are you going to specialize in? A pub is a pub is a pub. A beer is a beer is a beer. There's a million places that sell beer. There's a million places that sell sandwiches. And he said, what's the niche? What are you going to specialize in? What's the little angle to make this place different than all the other places? You have to have people come in here for a reason. What's your reason? What's your niche? And we were talking about an Irish pub, and I immediately thought of you folks in the travel business. We've been talking about this forever. Travel companies are a dime a dozen. What's your niche? What's your specialty? You can't go head to head with all of the other pubs in town, all of the other restaurants in town, all of the other options where people can quench their thirst in town. Why are they going to come in to this place? Why are people going to do business with you? That's a very, very important question, and it really shook me when my friend said that to the owners behind the bar. I've asked you this question before, and I think that although you've heard me, I don't think you've really focused on the importance of finding your specific strength, your specialty, your niche. Some people call it a niche, I call it a niche. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to spend some time on thinking what you do best, thinking who your ideal customers are, thinking why they choose you over all of the other options, and start focusing and creating and fine-tuning and embellishing your niche in the market, your piece of the pie. I can't impress, I can't say this enough times, and I can't say it strong enough. Your success, this pub's success, is going to be based on how tightly they focus their attention on their particular strength or their niche. Let's move to the next point, and that is I want to just explain to you the method behind my madness this week when I'm sending out 5 free marketing documents. Now, as you know, we're building the Inner Circle Sales and Marketing Club. And because I'm the proprietor, I'm looking to increase membership. Well, one way to do that is to offer people a sampling of what to expect within the Inner Circle. So I had an idea, and I sent out an email blast that says, hey, listen, if you want to find out more about the kind of material that is available on the club, send for the 5 free marketing documents. So a certain percentage of those people responded, clicked the button, and I told them, if you recall, you might have seen this yourself, I said, I'm not going to inundate you with information. I'm going to give you 5 documents over a 5-day period. And the reason I wanted to do that was to, without any stress or obligation, I wanted them to taste what they would have in store for them if they joined the club. So here's what happened. These people here, new subscriber, this is for the free 5 marketing document lesson over here. Well, these are the people who responded to say, okay, Mike, I'll sample your wares. Let me have them. Well, not everybody did, as you can appreciate. So the next day, and now this is the lesson. This is important. I sent out a blast email, and I had a certain amount of people respond. Then I did it because of sampling, and then I followed up with 5 lessons. And at the end of the 5 lessons, I'm going to ask them to join the club. I'm going to ask for an action, some form of action in joining the club. Some will join, some will not. That's okay. I will continue to follow up with those who don't. But here's the lesson. The next day, because I had a good response, I knew it was a good offer. So I sent the exact same offer to the exact same list. Now that's very important because a lot of you out there wouldn't understand that. If your list is 100 people and you send them an offer and 20 of them said, okay, let me see it. Here's the statistics. If you send the exact same offer back to the 80 people who did not respond, 50% of that list will respond. So you could expect if 20 responded to the first offer, you subtract them from the 100, so now you have 80 who did not. You send the exact same offer back, you will get 50% of that response. So there's another 10. So instead of getting 20, you will have 30. If you send it back again, you will get 50% again or another 5. So now you have 35 responding versus 20. And that's exactly what I did. And people would call me up and they'd say, but what I did on the second time, I said, the response for the first offer was so good, I must assume that you missed it. So here it is again. And they responded. So now, instead of 20 people to follow up on, I have 35 people to follow up on. And those numbers hold true. If you send 1,000 and get 200, then you send the same list again to the 800 who did not respond, and you'll get another 100, or now you'll have 300. Do it again, you'll have 350. Do it again, you'll have 375. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If something is working, do it again. Now, some of you out there are going to say, well, Mike, I don't want to do it again because I'm going to be bothering people. Well, yes, you might be bothering some people, and the fastest thing that you want to have happen is that the people who are feeling bothered ask you to be taken off the list. You don't want to be wasting their time, and you don't want them wasting your time. So if they say, Mike, please take me off your list, that's okay, because you're weeding them off of your list. So now the list is still a good list. It's just not a meaningful number of, hey, I have 1,000 people. 900 of them never open up my emails, but I have 1,000 people. Wrong. You want the people who are interested in your offer. So if they say, Mike, get me off the list, that's okay. So sending it back over and over and over again will work for you. And now you have a set group of people to focus on, to establish a relationship, to become visible, to become friendly, to become helpful. And sooner or later, yes, they will ask you to do business with them. That is how it works. That is what I'm doing this week, and that is what you can be doing in the future. Okay, so we touched on the value of hitting singles or becoming more visible in our marketplace. We touched on the value of focusing on your niche market, and we touched upon the importance of repeat email sending to get more interested prospects. So those are the 3 things we covered so far. So now let's move over to another topic. What you are looking at now is called the one sheet. Now all professional speakers have it, and I always thought it would be a perfect tool for a travel professional to have a one sheet. Now let's take a look. There's a front and a back, but on one piece of paper, you are giving the decision maker a lot of information to help them make the decision to do business with you. Speakers have them, and of course you can have them as a travel professional. So let's take a look at this. Number 1, there's a photo of the person involved. In your case, it would be, of course, your picture. Number 2, there's a testimonial quote right on the front. Now, the graphics on this is immaterial. These are just some of the things that are included in the one sheet that I want to talk to you about. Here's a testimonial. This is at least a motivational business speaker. Okay, boom, 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 from a retired Air Force captain. I have that up there. My name, my website, a book that I wrote. You don't have to have a book, but maybe if you had a special report about how to pack on a cruise, you could put it right there, showing people that you're the specialist. So I've always suggested that you put some kind of a special report together, and they're easy to do, and maybe in the time we spend together, we can do that. Here's you are, international travel specialist. That's who you are right there. Here's your name. There's your website. And then perhaps a motto or a slogan of yours underneath. On the left, a little bit about you, where you've been, your credentials, why you are as good as you are. Over here, these are ways that you can help people manage their travel. And you put a little blurb here with bullets maybe on different areas. Maybe it's vacation, maybe it's honeymoons, maybe it's your Italian specialist or Italy specialist or cruise specialist. Just information here about your specialty. This is who they're talking to. Down here I have presentation formats, and I connect with people in different organizations. So down here, you could have families, groups, church groups. You could have your organizations. You don't have to have 2 pieces of this puzzle down here, you can have, let's see, can I move this up? No, I can't move it up. You can have different information, different groups that you do business with, just so when I look at this, I immediately am drawn to, hey, this person really knows what they're talking about. On the back side of my one sheet, I have 4 more testimonials that you could put easily of customers of yours, a little satisfaction sign here, a little bit about the book itself and me being an author, but that could be a little specialty story about you, some of your clients on over here to give people a picture that you do have more than one client, and then some of the areas again that you could cover, groups, honeymoons, vacations, single groups, whatever your niche is, you could have something here. But the point again is that one sheet of paper, this is who I am, and here is the valuable point. Your competition does not have this. If you send an introductory letter to somebody and include this, I'm telling you, it'll establish your professionalism right from the beginning, because your competition, they don't do this kind of thing. National speakers do it. Celebrities do it. You can do it. I want you to do it. Now, you can't create a good one sheet, so create a lousy one sheet and we'll make it good. Picture, credentials, clients, specialty. Now, if all of that can go on a single one side of a piece of paper, so be it. You don't need 2 sides. You want a sheet of paper that you could send somebody so they know who they're dealing with and so they feel more comfortable with who they're dealing with. Remember, I told you a long time ago, people will discount what they hear, but they'll believe what they read. If you put your credentials down on a piece of paper and send it to people, they will believe it. That's the way it works. Okay, moving along, the next topic I want to talk to you about today is how easy it is to write a small article. Now, just assume that somebody showed interest and you sent them a cover letter saying, thank you for stopping in, thank you for emailing, thank you for writing your inquiry letter, and then you send them the one sheet, and then you send them attached to the one sheet an article that you wrote on a particular topic. Doesn't have to be the War and Peace Take 2. Here's an article. Managed to drop the rock. There's your picture. There's your name. A little information, bullet points spread out, a couple of paragraphs, information about you down here, and there it is. This could be restaurants to consider in Bermuda. This could be tourist spots while you're in Phoenix. It could be anything you want it to be pertaining to your specialty. But the point I wanted to make is how simple it is. If you had more words, you would use this white space, maybe tighten this up instead of double space, single space. You'd fill it in on one page. If you had less words, you would make this picture bigger. You might have a blowout quote in the middle that would take up space. So graphically, you can move your message around very easily on one piece of paper to make it attractive. Actually, the less words, the more attractive it is because people will actually read it. But they look at you, they look at your title, they look at the subject, and they say, this person must know what they're talking about, or else they wouldn't go through this article writing process at all. I wanted to share this with you today to show you that don't create a big obstacle. This is not that hard. Write a lousy article first, then we'll make it better. Shorter is sweeter. Picture, graphics, attach it, get it out. People believe the written word. That's how it works. And here's a little sample of an article I wanted to put in to show you that it doesn't have to be long at all. Here's one that I wrote, and somehow I got into the Material Handling Network magazine about 10 years ago. In every single magazine, they put an article of mine in it, and they call it Keeping It Real. That's the column heading I use, Keeping It Real. If you notice on the CLIA Friday e-zine, it's Thank Goodness It's Friday. It's TGIF. That's the name of the column. So you can create a column, Travel for Experts, travel tips, travel notes, travel memos, whatever it is, written by you, with your website and submit it to different magazines in your area. And don't tell me they don't put them in. They'll never put it in, because they will put it in. Look, this is back in July of '06, and I'm still in it every single time they publish it today, 6 years later. And I think I started long before '06, so they will do it. Stop trying to sell by me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little paragraphs, white space, picture, column title, your name. You can do this. And you don't have to do 100 of them. Write about 3 or 4 of them, and then send it to different publications and see if they're interested. Some of them will take it, some of them won't. What do you care? The fact that you're writing them is going to make you better at what you do. And you really don't care if they publish them or not. But now, when somebody sends in an inquiry, what can you do? You can send a copy of your article, you can send your one sheet, you can send your proposal, and you're going to be established as the professional. And my point, it's not that difficult. Now, in this abbreviated sales meeting, I wanted to show you something that I stumbled upon yesterday, and that is the contact letter that we need to be sending out postcards, emails, or letters to people on a regular basis. Why? Because we want to be visible. We want to maintain a presence in our marketplace. And I think here's a letter that I'm going to throw up on our website in the next couple of days, and it has to do with asking for help. A lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake that they think they have to go it alone. Now, a lot of you know that I collaborate with Nolan Burris quite regularly. Nolan is a competitor of mine. Let's make no mistake about it. They either hire him, they hire me. We're competitors, but we collaborate. Stuart Cohen, the same thing. Scott Keff, before he signed on with a company. But we all collaborate. We all get together. We're not lone rangers. And for the people who don't know, they think they have to go it alone. And you can't go it alone. It's too difficult to go it alone. That's why you join the inner circle. So you're not in this alone. We're in this thing together, trying to be successful together. Now, one of the mistakes people make is that they don't ask for help. One of the mistakes people make is they don't ask for referrals enough, sincerely. So this contact letter has to do with asking your good customers for help. Now, it opens up, and you might not be able to read it, so I'll read it to you over the phone here. No matter how I disguise this letter, it will quickly become apparent that I'm asking you for help. Ladies and gentlemen, people like to help people. You're not above asking for help. When you ask for help, people will help you. So you're asking your good customers. Don't ask a stranger, because they don't owe you a dime. Ask your good customers for help. Not unlike your company, the letter goes on, I feel that the time is right. Not unlike your company, the steady growth of my travel company depends on a balanced combination of repeat business from our satisfied customers and the addition of new business. Okay, that makes sense. With this in mind, I feel that the time is right to introduce our services to a select few who, like yourself, appreciate the value of a travel service they can trust and rely on. I'm asking for your help to help point me in the right direction. Now, the bold part, it says by introductory letter only. I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to nag them. I'm not going to hound them. All I want is for you to point your finger towards 3 people in your universe that I can write an introductory letter to. You're happy with my service, so I want them to be happy with my service, and I'm not going to hound them. All I'm going to do is write an introductory letter. And I'm asking for 3. Notice I'm asking for 3. Why? When you ask people for 3, you might get 1. If you ask people for 10, you might get 5. If you ask people for 1, you might not get any. So I'm saying, give me 3 people that I can write an introductory letter to. And we're not writing that letter yet, but that'll be the next one perhaps, is, the referencing this client when you contact their referral. But you're sending this letter out to your good customers. What's going to happen is that some people won't respond to you, but that's okay. But the more important fact is that some people will respond to you, and it'll give you a chance to follow up and establish and initiate new relationships based on a proven service that you're providing your current customers. So this letter is your way of asking for help to people you already know, so you can write an introductory letter and introduce a program of yours. And you can do what I did with those 5 marketing lessons. You can offer them something. You can give them a reason to contact you. That's very, very important. Rather than, hey, next time you take a trip, give me a call, send for my free report. Send for my special introductory special report on Italy, whatever it is. But you're asking them to come back to you because why? The whole strategy is simple. It's easier for you to answer your phone than it is to dial a number. You don't want to be a stranger. You want people to knock on your door. You want them to call you. You want them to come into your place of business, because once they do, you have the upper hand. If somebody calls you on the phone, you have total control of that phone call. So therefore, get more people to call you. How do you do that? You ask people to call you. Hey, if you're ever thinking of taking a trip, give me a call. I might be able to help you. That's all it is, folks. But over and over and over again, you have to have the strategy in mind. Visibility, friendliness, come and get information because I have it. I'm the person in the know. And by the way, here's my one sheet. Here's an article I wrote on Bermuda. Boom, boom, boom. That's how it works. And they're not going to just throw their money at you, but you're initiating the relationship over time, and sooner or later it's going to work. But the sooner you start, the sooner it will work. Now, before we close today, I want to share with you something that happened. I mentioned I brought my friend to the foot doctor the other day, and I'm sitting there in the lobby, little tiny lobby, about 6 people, the reception area of this foot doctor on the 3rd floor of some building down in Fort Lauderdale. And in comes the young man in the blue suit with the attaché case and the brochures, and he walks up to the window, the reception window. Nobody was there at the time, and he stood there. Well, I knew who he was. He was a salesperson for some pharmaceutical company who was making his rounds. I think that has to be one of the most difficult jobs in the world. Walking into a doctor's office with people waiting to be seen, sitting there looking at you, you in your natty blue suit or your blue dress, whatever it is. You walk up to a receptionist who's been on the phone all day talking to patients. Doctors are busy, and you're in there trying to introduce them to a product or a service that's going to make them change from whatever they're using now to use your stuff. I mean, it's got to be the most difficult job in the world. So I'm looking at this guy, and he's waiting, and he's waiting, and he's waiting, and I'm saying, boy, this is embarrassing, because he can feel the eyes of all of the patients looking at this guy, wondering what's going to happen. Well, all of a sudden, as luck would have it, he had a phone call. The buzzer went off in his pocket. He was smart enough not to take the call in the lobby there, so he left. He walked out the door. Well, I walked out the door following him because I wanted to talk to him, because I wanted to interview the salesman who has the toughest job in the world. Now, he didn't get off the phone in time for when I left, but I went over, had my card in my hand. I gave him my card, and I put my hand up to my ear like, I'll call you. He's on the phone. I say, I'll call you silently, and he gives me his card. So now I have his card. He has my card. We never spoke. I want to interview him, and now I want you to stay tuned to see what happens next. I'm going to write him a letter. I'm going to explain who I am. I'm going to explain who I want, and I'm betting that we will hear this gentleman over our inner circle wavelengths. I'll post that interview as soon as I can get it. So that's what's happening. We're going to talk to the hardest salesperson's job in the whole world, that of the pharmaceutical salesperson. Stay tuned. In the meantime, Mike@MikeMarshev.com. I invite you to send me your emails with your questions. We're in this thing together. If there's something we're not providing in the club, you've got to talk to me. This is your club. I don't want people to say, well, he didn't do this. I'll do anything you want me to do. This is your club, but you've got to talk to me. Mike@MikeMarshev.com. Let's make this the best collaborative club in the industry. That's what I want to do. I'm looking down at my membership list. I'm delighted, absolutely delighted with the quality of people we have in this club, and we're going to grow it carefully, and we're going to be bigger, and pretty soon we'll even introduce forums or whatever we have to do for you people to start talking to each other, sharing with each other, and we're going to make this club really cool. So, starts with you sending me an email. I'm here for you. And I'm going to close today's sales meeting with that, and I will talk to you sometime during the week via emails to you. Again, apologize for this not being live, but I'm hoping we got a couple of good points across. I'll talk to you next time.